a driver's meeting earlier concerning. Sit back, relax. Joining me today for this. He's a simulation superstar, and he'll be rival is here as well, representing Ferrari. Team Scuderia is Rio 1974. Rio as well has. So there's going to be lots of happenings going on here with the new program. There's going to be a lot of changes. So basically what this interview is going to do is of what's going on, what to expect. If maybe this is for you, maybe it's not. If you've been looking for a room or a simulation platform where it's going to be a structured environment, you're going to have guys playing by the rules, boundaries, and limitations of the track, but still allowing yourself to develop as a driver, racing against some of the better simulation drivers on the planet. So this is going to be the place for you. Unfortunately, it's only on the PS4, and I apologize for that, but what can I tell you? I'm a podunk. So with that said, let me introduce Antel. Antel, say hello to the world.
Hello guys, hello. Thank you for joining.
All right, and Rio, of course, Rio has his own credentials, and we'll get to that in a minute, but Rio, the world.
Hello, world.
Well, there you go. A man of many words, Rio 1974, from the Denver, Colorado area, and Antel from the Outback. The great. No, I'm just kidding. Where are you from, Antel? Tell the world where you're from. Exactly where you're from. Don't give him a street address or anything like that. But
I'm originally Romanian, and I moved to New Zealand when I was about 9.5. So I'm currently in New Zealand.
Awesome. And how long have you been? How long have you been simulation racing?
In competitive racing, I've been since the 2014 game. 2013 actually. End of 2013 game is when I started racing, and then it just moved on from there.
I know when I met you a couple years back, you already had your own league, you had your own website, you were doing a one-man show, kind of like what I'm doing now. How do you think the platforms have developed since then until now? Till we got to this point here. I know back then we had big dreams as well, but do you think this is the platform for us?
Moved on a hell of a lot from back in its day, especially when I had my own league, when I was running my own league. I remember there was massive lag issues and connection issues with the game regarding racing people from, let's say, the UK, from the place I live in New Zealand and Australia. With all the ping differences and everything, it was nearly impossible. So, and now playing the 2017 game, it's a huge step up. I can still race people online, and the last game as well, although I have retired for a year. I draw back for a year. But,
well, it's time to come back.
Kind of coming back now.
Tell the world a little bit about your racing credentials. I mean, it's obvious that you don't really race with us as much as some of the other guys with the ministry. You're not so much as a newcomer because I know you and I know your background, but a lot of these guys don't. So I think they're a little taken aback by me allowing you to, I don't want to say take the lead, but kind of point us in the right direction as far as developing a program where we can incorporate various aspects of driver training, media training, and things of that nature to kind of like, I guess, genetically engineer small simulation drivers and hopefully develop them into professional simulation racers. So again, just a little bit about your background. It says here you're a professional pole dancer by trade, but
no, pole dancer was my last job before I took on racing. So
there you go.
It was just my,
Okay, let me see here.
I thought it was a time for a career move, so.
There you go. I'm trying to bring up your picture here. Let me see what it says here. God, I can't read it. Yeah, I didn't come out the stats that you sent me, but give me a brief rundown on your stats. I think you said you had 4 world championships.
Overall, 4 championships. 1 in the Garage Racing League with South Bronx, as you know.
And by the way, guys, South Bronx is responsible for bringing Nautica and Ann 1 to us. So Anthony, many thanks. We'll get to him in a minute, but there you go. So it's all based around the same people. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so two more championships in the Tasman Racing League. Basically, a championship that runs in the Pacific based, and 2 of those. On one championship, I've got 400. I finished overall on 402 points, as opposed to second place on 200.
So a 200 point difference there. These are all open wheel, correct?
Another one, 344 points on 250 for the second
amazing
player, which was Stylen.
Amazing. So everybody knows Ray Rawls, the great Ray Rawls, Styling 18, combatant head-to-head ram a butter to Mr. Levis Slampy, Finnish boy. Again, a stellar record. What exactly were you racing? Was it open wheel? Was it go-kart? Was it shopping cart? Was it roller skates? What was going on there?
Oh, it was just the Garage Racing League was in the 2014 F1 game.
Okay.
And the 2 championships on the Tasman Racing League were on the 2015 game. And also my ANZ Racing Championship was the league that I ran. In fact, it was on the 2014 game.
Wow. I mean, all open wheel, all Formula One, all no assisted, I assume?
Yeah. All
okay.
F1.
All right.
Open wheel.
Wow. So if y'all think his lack of experience is going to be an issue, I think maybe you might have an issue with that. So again, a wonderful list of credentials there. Let's turn around from the Red Bull racer and look at the Prancing Horse's second driver. Everybody knows Rio. That's a race with me before. He's won in the C9 Sauber Series. We've seen Rio roll with the best. So again, Rio, tell me a little bit about your driving record.
I will, but first I'm going to tell you, if you want to look good, you got to go to redlinet.com and queue up some fresh gear. I'm telling you right now, they've got some nice looking clothes there, worth every penny. I got myself a shirt.
I tell you what, Mr. Schallenberger sent me some stuff the other day, man, and I want to thank him for that. It's fantastic. I really wanted to watch, sir. By the way, he did make good on his sponsorship and provided my my champion of both the Constructors' Cup and the Drivers' Championship, Finnish boy. Y'all know him, Spa, Mr. Spa.
Hey, my only wish with is that they still have the navy blue Le Mans shirt in, because they're out of stock, and I need one of those.
You need one of those. I'm going to make sure that Mr. Schallenberger does a reprint for Rio 1974 immediately. But again, what a fantastic intro.
I need one of those. But anyways, let's get back to it.
Well, we know your championship in clowning around is A1, so let's get to business and tell me about your driving championship.
Well, listen, I started racing in online racing in 2008. I picked up a game of NASCAR 08, I think it was, on the PlayStation 2. That might have been where I met you.
I believe it was.
And you know, I thought racing was the stupidest thing ever until I got that game.
All of a
it was
sudden,
the most boring thing ever, and I got that game, and I got a little bit more appreciation for what it's like for them, even though back then the games were a lot less realistic than they are now. But you know, but I've pretty much been steady. I was steady racing till about a couple years ago, just in a bunch of different leagues. Championship.
There you go.
That's like my crown jewel.
There you go.
My crowning achievement. Was winning that Division 6.
There you go.
In a Legends cars. And,
so
that took a lot of work. So,
you trained with Finn during this time? Weren't you training with Finn during this time, as using him as a sounding board, as developing your driving techniques on Formula One during your iRacing tenure? Or do I have my timeline incorrect? I'm sure I do.
No, I started racing with Finn back in probably like 2009.
It was Toka. It was Toka when we met Finn. It was Toka too.
And he's been good since then. And me and him have had plenty of good battles.
Oh my God.
On that,
Yeah.
If you get against a guy in a Formula One car, he's about impossible to beat, so you got to try to get him on Project Cars.
Yeah, no, we've had him on there a couple of times, and he did pretty good. Again, but he's a one-man show. He's a one-pony show, man, and that's going to be that Prancing Horse. If he didn't have the Prancing Horse, I couldn't have him here. So that was one of the stipulations he made. So yeah, I definitely did that. But again, a long, incredible history that both these drivers have. So these are the guys that are going to help us develop this program. We're going to follow basically all the rules, boundaries, and limitations of Formula One as close as we can. This will be a no assisted series, and of course, only the experienced and advanced driver need apply. With that said, Antel, a little brief rundown on some of the new changes that are going to be made. What these drivers can expect, and what is expected of myself as well. I mean, we're gonna have to make a lot of changes. There's gonna be a lot of different. There's going to be a lot of feelings hurt, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of tears falling before it's all over. So give us a brief rundown on what you got. I know a lot of these guys were anxious to hear earlier, and I'm sorry that you pole dancing gig ran a little late, but lay it on us, brother. We're anxious. The world's waiting to hear.
All right. Well, first note I've got here is that sponsors will be assigned a designated in-game team. So basically, what I'm proposing here is a specific sponsor. So let's say Nautica, they're assigned the Ferrari team in the game. So Rio and Finn will be assigned Nautica as their own little sponsor team, and then a representative from Nautica will be the team boss.
Okay.
Per se. So that will happen for every team. The more sponsors we get, the more sponsors will be assigned to each team in the game as we go.
Now, just let me pause you right there real quick. In regards to sponsorship, what he's referring to is obviously, y'all know what Nautica is, y'all know what N1 is. I mean, don't think they're going to give us billions of dollars, because they're not. They're just giving us some shoes right now to start. But that's how you get in the door. You want to go ahead and provide a quality product for these guys, because I'm telling you, normally how it's worked out, I know that I have had several other sponsors that wanted to be involved, but they want to see what's going on first. They want to make sure that 06 got is caca together. So I've been working on that, and of course y'all know. But we're going to move forward with that and continue to overcome. But sponsorship, we are about to go to World Endurance in about a week with Mackie 10. So I will be there with Mackie, and we're going to try to lay some more motorsport sponsors on us, not just for the F1 program, but for our Project Cars 2 program. So sponsorship is a definite yes for this series and for this league. Continue, sir.
Yeah, so it was just a little proposal to really get the sponsors involved with the program and the league itself. Reach up to the fans a little bit more, put the league and the sponsors themselves a bit more out there, and for them to have a goal to achieve. A little
bit more interaction then between the sponsors and the drivers, or the sponsors and the fans. Is that what you're trying to establish here?
Pardon me, your mic broke.
I'm sorry. So a little bit more interaction between the drivers and the sponsors, or the drivers and the fans, or all three together. Is that
basically
what you're?
Everything, yeah, just all as a whole.
Okay, so
more of a connection within drivers to the sponsors to the fans to everyone that's watching.
Well, it makes it pretty easy when you have a guy like South Bronx, who's already been established in the sim world. I mean, I know some of the people he knows, and this man right here, he's not a joke. He's not playing around. This is for real, for him to bring someone like Nautica and N1 to us, I think that's going to be a fantastic opportunity for us to have a more personal relationship, since we already have a personal relationship with this particular person. So it's going to be a lot easier to communicate. He knows the needs of our drivers, and of course what it takes and the problems we're encountering. It was actually his idea to postpone the event. He said, well, what are you going to do now that you're not going to race? I said, I don't know. And he said, well, let me propose this. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start off the F1 2017 season with a couple of one-off races. And what I mean by that is we're going to do some vintage car races, because I will go back to the reason why shortly here. But Antel and Stylens have been testing on their end, and have come to the conclusion that the vintage cars are a little bit more stable on the game than the modern day cars. We'll talk about that shortly. If you have something to say in regards to that, PSN me now, or messenger me now, and we'll get that rectified. But other than that, I lost my train of thought, man. See, I heard a sad song and I started crying. No, I'm just kidding. So there's going to be a lot of different little things that we're going to look for. So it's going to be a lot easier for us to talk to Anthony, get this going, and we're going to start, like I said, with his suggestion, and going to the vintage car series. It'll be a one-off, full-on race, no assist. It's going to Saturday is going to be a practice race this coming Saturday, but in about 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to have our first official N1 Nautica and Parada del Strada sponsored one-off. So we got about 3 weeks to start shaping up and start recruiting drivers, and we're going to go full on. So the fire is lit. The coals are burning. We're getting to go and do something and test some parameters. So all are welcome. At this point, but we'll move on. What else you got for us?
Yeah, so basically we're looking at doing a bit more interviews with the drivers themselves. Let's say we'll have a little press conference before the race weekend on the drivers, see how they're doing, how they're looking towards the weekend, how reflecting on their last races prior to the weekend. Mm-hmm. Just reflecting on asking questions, general questions to the drivers, stuff like that.
So what that's entailing is some media training then, which is always a good thing. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to develop drivers not only on the track but off the track as well, in front of the camera or in front of a microphone. My personal friend Patrick Long, y'all know him, the only North American Porsche Cup driver, has a developmental program for the Porsche of North America here in the States. I think it's at VIR, where they train. Where they train Porsche drivers to, in media training and wet weather training, just all aspects of driver development. So again, we're going to do that on a smaller scale, but we are still doing that, which is going to garnish attention. So I'm going to need the drivers that participate to be full on. You will be interviewed. You will be, expected to answer correctly, not just a 3-sentence. I don't want to thank my mom. No, that's not going to fly. We're going to need full participation from you guys. With some clarity. You're going to have to enunciate. You're going to have to use a little bit of vernacular. That means you got to go back to school. Then you better go back to school. Whatever. We're going to need everybody's 100% participation, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. So again, at that point, I know there's a lot of guys that like to drive and they're full on that, but when you put a microphone in front of their face, they're just a stone. So if that's you, and you want to participate, you better take a drink or something before we get the interview, because you need to loosen up. We need to get some quality answers, some quality peoples to talk for us, so you don't sound like me. All right. Well, driver development. What else you got?
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at just generally league podcasts about the league and how the championship's going, and basically reflecting on it.
So
of thing.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Between maybe hosts, maybe we'll have another host alongside yourself.
What?
In the future.
Blasphemy. I hope so. While we're on that point,
talk shows,
anybody that wants to volunteer at any time to come either be an in-car reporter or a up in the booth, color commentary, statistician. We got a couple of good ones out there. CJ, Zebra. Zebra's been my in-car reporter for quite a while. Billy does a fantastic job. He's a little bland, like white bread, but we'll put some jelly on him. We'll clean him up, but he's very clinical, very precise. He's very correct. So you can trust pretty much what he says 99% of the time. CJ's the same way. He's very clinical, very methodical in his thinking. These guys are spot-on commentators. They're not afraid. Again, anybody that wants to do that, J-Port, I know you're out there listening. J-Port did a fantastic job the other day for the Australians and Black Label Racing. So these guys are coming out here and they're actually making a concerted effort to better our stream and enhance the viewability. So guys, don't be afraid to step up. I mean, if you want to try your hand at an in-car reporter, I'm looking for guys who want to drive hot laps at the beginning of the race, after the race, guys that want to be part of some kind of advertisement for. We have lots of uses for drivers, but you got to be willing to spend some time and invest some time in doing this. So still a lot of work to be done. Wonderful opportunities for everybody to step up and expand their game. That's what these sponsors are looking for nowadays, man. They're not just looking for a fast driver. They're looking for an all-around minister of speed, and that means he has a control of his media, his personal life, his everything. He's got it all in control. Like me, I don't right now. So we're looking for guys like that. If that's you, if you want to race in a clean room, if you want to race in a structured environment, this is where you got to be. These guys right here are investing their time and their effort to make this something that we can all appreciate, the world can watch. Even if you're not a race fan, you must appreciate the amount of work that it takes to even get something like this going on. I mean, and trying to develop an international race and put it all together on a Saturday evening is not as easy as you think. You don't just send out invites. You have to plan. People have schedules. People have lives, especially if you want the quality of driver that we're looking for. So again, we're going to have to be right on time. It's going to be a schedule-oriented event. 12 o'clock means 12 o'clock. It doesn't mean 12:01 or 11:59. It means 12 o'clock. So we got a lot to cross in that area, because I know I am casually late everywhere. I'll probably even be casually late to my own funeral. So continue on, man. Lay down some more stuff for us. I'm definitely interested.
All right, so next up we're onto the race days themselves. So basically about all the details about what will happening on the days. So basically we'll be doing a practice before the qualifying into the race and prior to the race. So the practice will either range from 45-minute to a 90-minute session before a full qualifying session. So that's Q1, Q2, and Q3.
Very nice, very nice.
For a 100% race.
And weather will be on dynamic?
Run it on, dynamic weather. So, all Mother Nature's against you.
Yeah. So if y'all guys don't have any wet weather experience and you don't like racing in the rain, you better start practicing. You better start hanging out with me, because it's been raining in my life and it's gonna rain in yours. Take the pain. It's gonna be wet. The game seems to know me already. My drivers can attest to that. It just rains everywhere I go, so yeah, it just must be what I got going on there. But again, the 90-minute session you may think is a little too long based on our previous experience, but remember, this room is going to fill up fast. We're going to actively go out and recruit drivers, which is something I didn't do prior to. I only manned my series with guys that I knew, that I trusted, because this is a very sensitive type of racing. This is a non-contact sport. Ed Pro, Carrera, sorry about that. No, this open wheel is a very precise, obviously, as you know, a sport. Contact on one of these cars is catastrophic. So again, if you're not familiar with the rules, boundaries, and limitations of F1, Safe is Fast has a lot of great videos. Or just watch some races, man. Go back and watch YouTube and watch a bunch of F1 races and see what they're doing. That's where you got to be. The level of intensity and the level of precision and the level of complexity is beyond NASCAR, beyond a lot of stuff that we're used to racing. So again, you're gonna have to think on multiple levels, quickly, fast, and efficient. So again, this is not going to be for everybody. You may think you're an F1 driver, but we'll find out pretty soon here. So with that said, again, we're going to have enough guys to fill in the 90-minute or the 45-minute session, depending on where we're at. We'll fine-tune that as we get there. So those are just rough time estimates. But there will be full-on qualifying. It'll be the 3Q session, just like you see on Formula One. If you're not familiar with that, NASCAR does it miserably, but check out F1. Watch an F1 session, a qualifying session, and it's fantastic, especially when they come at the last possible second and snatch away a pole position. It's wonderful. So again, skill, precision, and timing is key here. And then, of course, as he said, a full-on race, no assists, dynamic weather. Penalties will be enforced. We'll have people monitoring the stream if they see any argy-bargy. Now, we'll have multiple drivers streaming if that's possible. I'm sure it will be. Per team, as he said, we'll have N1 on one side, Nautica on the other side, and a couple of drivers from each team will, of course, have a live stream. Now, they will not have audio, but you can watch them, through a live stream, through their cockpit view. Eventually, we're going to try to get the software to where we can have audio like that, or I can continue talking while you're watching them. So again, anybody out there that has some extra funding, certainly send me the software or the money to buy it, and I will put that up immediately. With that said, back to you, Anto.
Yes, you basically took quite a bit of that right out of my mouth there. So,
well, I'm sorry. Rio, what do you think about all this?
Obviously, no assists. Settings, park firm is on. Park firm will be enforced. Vehicle damage simulation, all that stuff. Formation lap, obviously. Manual starts, etc.
What do you think about all this, Rio? Let me give the Ferrari driver a chance to speak. What do you think about all this? I mean, a lot of guys have been longing for a room that's full on F1, but when they get here, they I don't like. Can you put on ABS or What do you think about all this? You think we're going the right direction? You know they're gonna cry. You know,
sorry, I'm laughing. It's just I really hate. I hate assists, so
yeah,
I'm quite good with it.
I got you. I guess
not having any assists at all. I love it. I think it's great, and I think you know, you should be responsible. You have other people, you know, waiting for you. There's just no time to mess around. Just be on time. We'll do the race. Everything will be professional. Race professional.
Yes.
It'll be good.
Driver etiquette is enforced. If you don't know what that means, go look at the dictionary, man. Go check out your phone and scroll etiquette. Johnny, I can't spell it. Spell check it or do something. Speak it in the mic. It'll spell it for you. Basically, every track has different rules in regards to where the pit road is, how to exit certain tracks. There's lines. There's just small details on the track that a driver should enforce. Now, there's the written rule and there's the unspoken rule. I would like to say the etiquette is basically the unspoken rule. Your rules of behavior on the track. There will be no resetting to the track, so anybody that's caught resetting to the track with the reset button is gone. Simple as that. You must drive back on the track as if you had actually crashed. That's an etiquette that is unforgivable. That is not going to even happen if you do that. I can just tell you right now, it's game over for you. So no resetting to the track. You're gonna have to do things like that. You're gonna have to be courteous. You're gonna have to make sure that you're gonna race hard, but you know, all this bullishness and you know, stepping on people's toes and moving around is not going to cut it either. You're going to have to be as smooth as X-Lax if you want to race with us. So again, etiquettes, track rules, you know, everyone has different places, it's passing zones. They're all different. You know, whether you take it on the last lap or you take it on the third lap, you know, you must know what you're doing. If you're constantly violating these unspoken rules or you know, stomping on, trotting on people's personal, you know, come on, you're gonna have to monitor that. So again, we're gonna try to make this as clean and professional as possible. We're not looking for any little girls like Lewis Hamilton crying and whining and bitching, and you know, no, it's not gonna happen. We're looking for men, real men that, you know, can roll with the punches and recover and get back to the racing at hand. So again, lots of little details. If you don't know, start watching some video and start coming to our rooms, and we'll figure it out. All right, what else you got there, Mr. Antel?
Yeah, so touching back on the etiquette, so we're basically going to be doing drivers briefings pre-weekend. Coming into the weekend, so basically this is where all the drivers will get together with the stewards or the head of the sport, really, and basically discuss as per every track, you know, whereas we all can agree to mutually do risky moves, even into certain corners.
Yes, some of these like the Chinese Grand Prix, for instance, Shanghai. When you come into the first turn, the first complex, it's like that big twisty left hand. I mean, a right hander, then just a winding left. You know, that crossing over there. It's very exciting to watch, but there's certain etiquettes there. You can't. There's not enough room for two cars basically at one point of that track there. So there's a point where somebody's going to have to give, and you know, that's where you're going to get the respect or lose the respect. So again, you know, I know you want to win, and a lot of these guys want to win, but you can't win if you're wrecked, and you can't win if you're not racing with me, because if you keep wrecking folks because you don't know how to slow yourself down, then that's where you'll be. So again, we're going to be enforcing all these things. We're going to be watching, because remember, this is simulation racing. You know, there's no, you know, there's redos, but you know, you don't want to afford to knock these guys out, man. Some of these guys go way out of the way for us. I know a lot of my drivers, you know, change their schedules. Finish Boy, last year's champion, wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then 30 minutes later he's racing full on F1 and winning. I don't know how you do that. I mean, I used to have a great meth dealer, but not anymore. That's just too much. I just cannot get up and go that hard. But some of these guys make some serious concessions, and we want to give everybody the opportunity to win and move forward and you know, develop their program the way they need to. So with that said, Rio, what are your thoughts on that particular aspect of etiquette? Is that something that they embrace at iRacing? Have you seen that in any other leagues where they really you know, push that rule?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in both types where they don't really care, or it's just full on sim, and that's mostly what I'm used to, and I think that's the way it should be. It's really a lot more fun that way. I know it's harder for some people to deal with it that way, but once you get the hang of it, it's so much better to just run it like that. So.
Well, they say if you do something enough times, whether you like it or not, it just becomes habit. So, either you're going to learn it or you're not. But yeah, that's going to be a challenge for a lot of guys. But I think we can help them overcome that. Anto, I know you got a couple more things. We'll kind of speed up the pace a little bit. What else we got there going on, brother?
So basically with the driver briefing, it's not just touching back on that. It's not like you can't make a move into a corner, and if you make it, you still get penalized because you made the move into the corner. You know what I mean? It's just like basically if you're making a move into a turn when you really shouldn't, and then you make an accident, it becomes kind of stupid because why would you be making that move in the first place? Sort of thing. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Basically, use your head for something other than a fancy hat rack.
Yeah,
I gotcha. Well, folks,
reinforcing drivers before the weekend. And that was actually my last point I had for today, at least.
Well, that's basically what I tell my guys before a race. I go over it again. Remember, lights on, gentlemen. Da-da-da-da. We go through that whole thing. I say it every time. I say it 5 times. But we're not going to do that anymore. We're just going to have a driver's briefing and tell you one time. And if your processor is a little too slow to get it one time, well, once again, you might find your way out the door. So this is going to require a little bit more effort from our drivers. I'm not trying to belittle anybody. I got some really competitive drivers, really smart guys that know how to use their head. So this is basically for the guys that are watching right now that don't race with us, that want to come race with us, or are thinking about racing or looking for a simulation league. You may think you're ready, and I hope you would be. Because we would definitely enjoy your company. We would definitely enjoy your competition. But make sure that you are clear on all these things. Now, in the next couple of days, I'm going to be writing all this down before I start wasting my time on the website and putting it all up there. So if y'all have any questions in the meantime and in between time, certainly feel free to message me or Antel, and or even Rio himself. I don't know if he'll answer you or not, but we'll certainly get in touch with me, and we'll figure it out together. We'll answer any of your questions or concerns, and we'll address them directly. If I don't know the answer, I know somebody who does. Bottom line, we'll get you the right information, and you can make a determination there whether or not this is for you. But continue, sir.
Yeah. So the last few little points. The season will be run on a normal schedule, real life schedule, as they do in real life Formula One.
Meaning what?
22 grid slots.
Okay.
So that'll be for the commentator and presumably someone who actually, like a steward that watches over the race and keeps track of the, roughly of everything that's going on the track live.
So how many live positions are we going to have? If we have 22 race slots and one is for me.
So an actual racers, we're looking at 20 exactly.
So right now we have at least 11
racing on the track.
We have at least 11 right now. Now, if we have to. Being that we're going to garnish a little bit more attention than we have before, we can have a parallel a race maybe before or right after. It's going to follow the same dynamics, the same procedures, the same quality of driver, and maybe at the end of that we can just put the two all the winners or whatever, and put them head to head, or just leave them alone and just let them do their own thing and award them individually. So again, this is all under development. I don't know how many. We might only have like 4 people show up. So this might not be all for nothing, boy. But I don't think it will be. I've already posted stuff up there, and I'm already showing some signs of life. So this is going to be an exciting series, guys. You definitely want to be part of this. I'm going to give it my full attention, I hope. Yeah, I definitely will. This is something that I'm committed to. I'm committed to my drivers. I'm committed to my ministry. I'm committed to my I'm committed to God. He's the one who put me here. He gave me this opportunity to bring you guys, what it takes to, there's just so many things that I need to say about that. I'm just gonna hold on. But yeah, I'm committed. That's all you need to know is that I'm here for you. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make this happen. This is it. I think we're going to move on. I know there's bigger and better leagues as far as financing and stuff, but the purity of driver and the level of commitment that we're going to give it is going to be second to none. And I'm proud and honored that you and Rio and some of these other drivers, Donnie Staubitz, Rosta, these guys that have been with me for a while, invested their time, effort, money. Mr. B, Little B, all these guys out there, man. They've been supporters, they've been friends, and they're willing to make the concession and the adjustments, and that's where we need to be with that. I think if we step up our game, everybody else will step up their game too, and the competition is going to be fantastic. Just before we let me touch base on something while I have this thought. Now, you said there was only a few F1 leagues that were really, really competitive out there, that really had something to offer in the world itself. Could you touch base on some of that information again, and tell them what's out there really? What is the world offering in regards to, or the simulation world and PS4 offering drivers other than my ministry to go race at? What do they got out there?
Well, actually, I was going to touch on this league. Actually, I believe is the only league where it'll have all the race settings and structure to be as real as possible.
Yes.
So I would say that much.
Yeah.
Because other leagues typically would run a 50% to a short qualifying sort of thing to get it nice and quickly done.
So basically, we're going to be one of the first ones to follow the entire format. Yeah. Okay, I gotcha. Well, what about the European leagues you were telling me about?
On a 2-week basis as well, where you get a bit of a break, so that's always a plus for drivers to practice and get their stuff together.
Well, we're going to have Project Cars in between then, and I have guys like the Zebra, or he was working on some scheduling, so I don't know if he's still listening. I hope he's Billy. If you're listening, you better be at work doing my scheduling. But yeah, if you got some time, it's going to be every 2 weeks. And as far as our vintage car races, we had GP2. We're going to do away with that on Friday, and then we were racing our Premier Class events on Saturday night. But we're just going to have the Saturday night event. And every once a month, I think you said, Antel, we'll have a classic car one-off shootout, a vintage car.
Yep.
We'll change it up. We're going to have to figure out how to divide the cars, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we still have some work to do. But that's the goal. That's the plan. And again, we've got some tremendous sponsors on board. This is only going to get bigger. This can only get bigger if people see that there's already some serious sponsorship names, should I say, committed. It's a lot easier for them to give us the nod. So hopefully it won't be tennies for much longer, and it'll be a little bit of capital, some cheese. You know what I mean? I'm tired eating soup, man. Go ahead, talk to me, brother. Tell me some more things, man, before we wind it up tonight.
That was actually all I had. Well,
what?
A nice little last basic will be all the cars will be equal and
okay. Well, there you go.
Equal performance. Yeah.
Equal performance. Part for me is going to be on. As far as the setups, Rio or Anto, whoever wants to answer this, or both y'all, have y'all heard anything about any setups coming out, or do we just have our drivers develop our own? I mean, I know the last game had a setup page. We had F1 2016 setups that you could get off the Play Store, but I mean, they were just really generic setups. I guess they really shouldn't be worried about that. They should just start driving and trying to develop their own. Have you heard any news about any upcoming setups, or where can drivers get setups to start practicing now?
Well, alternatively, you could go to Time Trial and you could go to the leaderboards, and you could basically go on the players' names on whichever one you'd want on the leaderboards, and you could basically say load setup, and it will come up with their exact setup on your settings.
I did not know that.
So there's that, but that's taking that and keep that in mind. It wouldn't be your actual race setup. Or it depends if whatever you choose to do, really. So personally, that's what I do, and then I tweak it to my own driving style, basically, to suit my own, driving the way I go about things, and maybe in the race as well. I change a few things as well. So.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to have the ability to adjust your camber, your bias, all these things on the fly. Being that you're not going to have any assist, you're going to have to do some manual adjustments yourself. So as far as setups, it's really driver preference. I mean, you could take the fastest setup in the world, maybe yourselves or Carl's or something like that, and give it to somebody, and that person may not. It may be even worse. It depends on yourself. Just because you have a fast setup, that doesn't mean that the driver can drive it. It has to fit your style. So don't be frustrated if you don't have a setup right now. You want to get out there and drive. This is going to be a no-assisted race, event, as I said. So, but I would start with some assist in a practice room by yourself and try to learn the tracks, and then, wean yourself off as quick as you can, because I want you to stay on the track. I want you to get experience, but on the same token too, you're gonna have to learn how to drive the car in all aspects, and that includes making the adjustments yourself in race conditions. Be it wet or dry, or side by side. Rio, anything to add before we take off? Talk to me.
No, but what he said is good advice. You can, like you said, you can just go to a time trial on a track, and it'll put you, whatever lap you're running, you can run a rival setup, or you can run any setup you can find on there. So setup shouldn't be difficult to find, but
okay.
It's like you say, you got to know how to drive the setup that you're driving.
Absolutely. It's difficult to drive somebody else's setup. It's difficult to walk in somebody's shoes, especially if they're a lot faster than you, because their driving styles, their level of comfort, their seating position, all these things are critical. Now, that brings me to the last and final point. What kind of equipment would we need, or what kind of equipment do you recommend? I recommend that if you're going to drive with us, you have a wheel, at least a T300 or better. And that's Thrustmaster. I'm not sure if Logitech has something for this game or not. I know Fanatec might. But you're going to have a quality wheel. I would say a semi-decent rig. If you don't got one of those, you're going to have to slap one together. I think it would be a lot better for you. You're definitely going to have a mic. Ray Rawls Stylen. You're definitely going to have a mic, because I need to know what you're thinking and saying. So I don't think many of y'all do. So you're going to have a mic. What else is that? Because driver communication is going to be key. You're going to have to know how to interact with Skype. You're going to have that. We're going to have in-car driver steward communication. So these are going to be some things you're going to hear offline, but you're definitely going to have that capability. So a steering wheel, a mic, a good seating position. You make sure you're comfortable, but again, make sure that you have the stuff that you need. Controllers and all that stuff. I'm not going to say no, because I know there's a lot of fast guys on controllers as well, but I'm recommending that. It will be totally on manual transmission. There will be no automatic. There'll be none of that. So no pit assist in, no pit assist out. It's going to be all driver. So you're going to have to really up your game, and I think a wheel would be the way you need to go. Do you agree, Rio? That's where you need to be?
I agree. I mean, I can see people doing it on controllers, but
yeah,
but I think have to run laps.
Okay, Anto, what are your thoughts on that?
Personally, I'm a controller user, so.
Well, sorry, I just shot him down. Right? I didn't know. No, well, again, too, but see, that's okay. Like I said, if you're good on a controller, that's fine. If you're not so good on a controller, I'm telling you, a wheel. I'm horrible at both, but a wheel will help me out a tremendous amount. So, again, it's your preference. I'm just recommending that. I tell my guys, you really want to get a wheel.
It's not so much my preference; it's just what I can afford.
I gotcha. So,
yeah.
Any sponsors out there that are listening, I mean, this is one of the fastest guys out there right now in simulation, man. I BS you not. So, I mean, it would be a shame to waste such talent. He's already got an open wheel ticket and single seaters. So, this is just going to be another stepping stone for him. That's going to be one of the things too that we're going to be pushing once we garnish a little bit more sponsorship. Is I'm going to try to get some of our better drivers and some of our Formula One drivers, steering wheels, gaming wheels, things of that nature, equipment that they can use. Especially if you show yourself as a quality driver, I'll definitely do what I can to equip you, and that way you can continue giving us a good show. So with that said. That's it in a nutshell. I mean, there's a whole lot more to go with, and it's getting a little late, so I got a long day tomorrow, and I know everybody else does. We got to go to work. But again, thank you for joining us tonight. This is just, like I said, just a brief rundown of what we got going on here. Just want to share, what we had, where we're going. Thank you, Anthony, for bringing such a wonderful sponsor to us, Nautica and Hand One. Of course, Mr. Schallenberger, thank you, sir. Parada, your number one fan is here, Rio. Rio definitely likes the shirt. I'm sure. I know I like mine. I haven't worn them yet. I'm waiting for World Endurance to take my gear, my swag, my Parada swag. So yeah, it's going to be a great run.
You must not be ready to look good.
I am. I'm ready to look. Dude, I look good anyway, man.
You better put it on tomorrow.
No,
put
bro,
no.
I
You'll feel so much better. It's
I do.
Like the sun is shining on your shoulders when you.
No, man. That's it, Mr. Schallenberger. He's the man right there, dude. You need to kick off your. What's that fancy movie star? He's got to go. He's got to go. Rio 1974, Denver, Colorado. That's where you'll find him. Guys, thank you again. Six Gun, the Ministry of Speed, Antel. Much respect for you, and I am honored to have you on board. As far as helping me develop this program. Rio, again, your advice and your friendship is second to none. I wish we had Finn here, and I wish we had a couple other drivers in here, but again, it's late. It's the last minute type thing. I just wanted to get this out there because some of our drivers missed the meeting, but this is it in a nutshell. Again, any variations, any changes that you would like to make, you either address it to me or Antel, and we'll see what we can do for you. If it doesn't fit the format, don't get your feelings hurt. You're just gonna have to make the adjustment. Simple as that. I love y'all like brothers. I love everybody that comes in our room. I'm gonna give everybody the opportunity. I'm gonna treat everybody with respect. It doesn't matter where you're from or what your background is, man. We're all the same here in this room, man. You can visit my website for a list of rules that I have up there. Basically, they're just moral rules. So fit those. If you think that's too difficult for you, then maybe you shouldn't be here. But if it's something you can do, something you're looking for, man, the door's open. Come on in, hang out. We're glad to have you. With that said, I just want to thank you again. Thank you. All y'all, man, for participating and for being part of this program. It's going to be a fantastic opportunity for us to watch drivers develop and grow, and who knows, we may even create an F1 superstar here. So we'll see. With that said, Johnny, say Livy. I'll see y'all guys tomorrow night. My phone's open. Call me. We love y'all, and yeah, I guess that's about it. Y'all guys have a good evening, and bye. Adios, amigos. All right, man. Well, give me a second here. I can't turn. Wow, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I don't even drive, because can't even turn the damn button off. Here we go. Oh, where are we? There we are. All right. Good night, guys. My God.